Last month, the topic of addiction, mental health, and the stigma that comes with seeking help took the center stage after the death of director Rob Reiner and his wife. Joining us to discuss the important topic is Dr. Bruce Figuered, psychologist and CEO of Jackson House and West Coast Recovery Centers. Good morning, Bruce. Good to see you.
Good morning, Jason. Good morning.
Okay, this was a story that absolutely shocked everybody. So there's a family dynamic here, mental illness, drug addiction, and how the family's dealing with it. What can you tell us about this, just off the top?
Yeah, it's off the top. I mean, first and foremost, it's really a tragic and sad situation, you know, like whenever you hear this. And you know, fortunately, it's very, very rare for people to commit acts of, you know, like doing what Nick Reiner did allegedly to his family. What is far more common, though, and what we see, you know, every day is the other destruction that happens within families that's caused by mental health and addiction. And so frequently the destruction impacts, you know, so many facets of your life, whether it's, you know, your job and people being unable to work, their finances as a result of, you know, the drug use and the cost of drug use and not working, or losing pay because of work, and then socially, like with friends and your interpersonal relationships with your spouse or your loved one, and then your children too. And it leaves a legacy of pain and hurt and harm. And we see it every day.
Is there a fine line between mental illness and addiction? Because we're talking about two different issues that can be one and the same, right?
Yeah, and so frequently they co-occur, right? And so, you know, at Jackson House, we see close to 70% of the people that come in have a mental health diagnosis in addition to a substance use diagnosis. So they co-occur frequently, and it's sort of like, you know, the question I've been asked in the past is, you know, well, which one comes first? Is it the chicken or the egg, you know? And it's really both. So frequently people who have an underlying anxiety disorder, underlying depression, will use substances as a means of coping. And the converse is true as well, that over time with you know, ongoing use, it can cause depression, it can cause anxiety. And really, like, I think the most important message for families out there is to really have a good understanding of what you're dealing with. And it's also really important to understand that you're not alone. Up to 65 to 70% of all families, so like 2 out of every 3 people, their lives are impacted by addiction. So it's not uncommon. But the problem is that only 18 to 20% of people actually seek help.
Well, in the case of the Reiners, apparently this had been going on for a long time.
Right.
He ends up acting completely erratically, his son does, at a holiday party, Conan O'Brien's holiday party.
Yeah.
And people are like, whoa, what is with this guy?
Yeah.
Is this the mental illness combined with drugs, or what's your take?
Well, there have been reports that he was using methamphetamines. And so what is known is that when people use methamphetamines, up to 60% of them can have a psychotic episode. And so it can actually induce a severe mental illness and cause psychosis in people. So if, again, like the message to families out there is, if you're dealing with an addiction problem, it's really important to understand what is the substance, what are the risks and consequences associated with that substance, because they're not all the same. I mean, from methamphetamine addiction to alcohol addiction, cocaine addiction, opiate addiction, the consequences and the impact on the person's mental health and on the family as a consequence are all going to be a little bit different. So
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine.
No, this family, the Reiner family, had for years sought treatment for him.
Yeah, yeah. And so when I talk to people, that's, you know, I've heard people say, well, we tried that, it didn't work. We tried treatment, it didn't work. Well, it's really, what did you try? How did you try it? What's missing? And what can we do different this time? Because we know that if somebody is in treatment and they stick to a plan, a prescribed plan, and they follow, you know, the directives of the substance use professional, people do recover and they do get better. But it's really about sticking to it and not leaving treatment, not getting out of treatment, because the structure has to fit the recovery process. So if people go and they went to detox and it was a couple of days and then they say, I'm better now, I can go back to my life. That's just not true. It takes months, and sometimes a year before somebody's brain biology recovers to a point that they can make functional and fully rational decisions.
If somebody watching has a family member who's displaying erratic behavior,
yeah,
right? At what point do you consult a professional?
I mean, I would consult with somebody immediately. I mean, there isn't any cost or any harm in calling someone or reaching out to someone and saying, hey, I'm seeing this and I'm seeing this, and we're all too happy to talk it through with somebody and explain what potentially could be happening with them.
Okay, and this is your area of expertise. So if there is somebody in our audience watching right now,
yeah,
and they need some help with a family member, how can they get in touch?
Yeah, reach out to us through jacksonhousecares.com, and there's a phone number on there, and you give us a call. We're available, 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and if you just have questions, we're happy to answer them.
Okay, Bruce Figuered, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Always good. I learn a lot.
Appreciate it.
Well, an investigation into a crash on Highway 67 at Poway is underway. I'm going to send things over to Allie now. Allie?
All right. Thanks, Jason. That's right.